And we're live.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the schedule release of the NFL. Dave Bontempo and Pete Amato with you. You've heard all the sourcing, you've heard all the rumors, and tonight they make it official. So we're going to kind of go along with you as we get it. We put it up. We'll make it official coming from the NFL. Pete, great to see you, and it's good to be right on the news this time.
Yeah. It looks like everybody kind of knew what was going on before it was going on, but I think everybody got it right. But I think everybody was more excited to just kind of talk about football, whether it's whether they know the schedule or not. I think it's just all about just having the chance to talk about football because it's so kind of far away.
There is always something that makes the Eagles fans excited. We saw it on NFL draft night at the end of April, in which first round draft, you've got all this expectation, and then the reaction after the draft comes out, and that's April. Now, we do know that in about a week, we're at the halfway, or maybe 2 weeks, it will be closer to the coming season than the past season. So, however the NFL did it, it looks like the schedule is going to come out fully tonight. We're hearing rumors that the Eagles will visit the Detroit Lions in their first game. That's about to become official in a little bit. I think it's amazing that when the schedules have come out, Peter putting it out like it's the NFL draft mock drafts. I
Yeah. Right
heard
now,
that.
yeah, for sure. Right now, I'm watching NFL Network, and they're going basically week by week. Matthew Stafford's there, kind of announcing each team, like it's kind of like a NFL draft or something. It's kind of weird, but like people are really pumped about it, and I don't think, like I said, it's not really a big surprise. I don't think that's why people are excited. I think it's just a chance to get ready for football and a chance to really get excited for the next season.
Well, the Eagles certainly remember Matthew Stafford's replacement. That was Jared Goff last year as they went in and they pummeled the Detroit Lions. It was their third win of the year and kind of indicated to people that they might be one of those teams about to turn the corner. That was a lopsided victory for the Birds, one of the best offensive outputs of the season, and probably saved a lot of heat for Nick Sirianni at that time of the season. So that was one of their, and that's when we really saw their ground game have some of its best efforts, and also Darius Slay have one of
Yeah,
his best efforts.
yeah. It kind of was the turning point for the new regime.
Hmm.
This ownership of the Eagles loved passing, but I think they finally realized like our team is set up to be a running team um, that doesn't get beat deep, and I think that's we kill the clock, we eat up yards, and we don't let big plays up, and I think that's kind of what kind of turned the whole season around. I think it was Sirianni's willingness to change things up. He's coming as a wide receivers coach, which obviously the guy's excited about creating plays around the quarterback and his wide receivers. But but he needed to kind of put that on the back burner because we had a great running game. We have probably the best offensive line in football when they're healthy, and we had a young quarterback who didn't really look that great. He was very inconsistent, and our wide receiver staff. I don't even really have to mention how bad they were. So yeah, it was. I think Sirianni kind of realized it. The fans were pining for it all season. I got to give the Philly fans credit, man. They some you may call us loud and obnoxious, but we know our sports, and we were calling it way before they actually kind of pulled the trigger on being a run first team.
So we're in the process of the NFL releasing its schedule. What have they done so far early on this evening of releasing? Have they gone game by game, week by week? How are they doing it so far?
It looks like they're going team by team. They're looks like they're just stuck on the Rams right now. Matthew Stafford's on there, and he's just kind of. I think they're going through
Rams
they're just
team and
going
his
through
his
the LA schedule. They have a ticker on the bottom. Once I see the Eagles pop up, I'll shoot them over, and then and we'll get like the definites. But I mean, we do have a bit of a week by week thing. I'm going to pull it up here so people can see it. Um, Basically, it's a tougher schedule than last year. It's kind of end loaded. It's a bit end loaded if you they have some tough matches at the end of the season, which is the total opposite of last year.
Yes,
As you can
yes.
see. So, I got to go through the exact dates. I didn't really have time to do that because I was kind of going through, but
Well, the people with the
see where they
dates are
play.
going to look at. I think they're going to be concerned with the weeks and then how they look, like the backloaded thing. Yeah, that they had all the NFC East opponents last
Mm-hmm.
year, but they didn't really. They may not have known that the NFC was going to be so weak,
Yeah.
and so they became good games for the Eagles. So we see a couple Monday Night Football ones on there. With the second week is the Minnesota Vikings. That's a good one for Eagles fans, and that's the home opener.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of what was released first. I mean, a few days ago, I think we found out that they're going to be playing in a couple big night games, and the Monday Night Football game on September 19th against the Vikings was probably one of the worst. I mean, one of the first that they talked about. So it got everybody kind of riled up. I think they did it on purpose, because it's right in the beginning of the season, week 2, and week 1 it's kind of a cookie. I mean, we dominated the Detroit Lions last year, and it looks like we get to play them week 1. Week 2 is the Monday Night Football game. It's not going to be easy, but we should be all right. I mean, if the Eagles can kind of not get off to an awful start, we should get off to a 2-0 start.
DraftKings has already announced, because they can do it this far out, that the Eagles are minus 2.5 against the Minnesota Vikings. They already know that this far out, because Johnny Avello from DraftKings told us that what they do is they take into account the power rankings, how the teams drafted. They know who teams took. They like the Eagles draft. I thought the Eagles did pretty well. Johnny Avello also said the Jets had an excellent draft, he thought. So that's something to keep in mind going forward. But they set up the lines. And what he did also say is that we're going to watch this tomorrow, Pete, because he said once the entire schedule is up, not long after that, they intend to put up the line for every Eagles game this year on the DraftKings site. And that's a real shopping opportunity for bettors, because you can say to yourself, well, if it's this game, they might be coming off of a win. If it's this game, it might be 2 tough ones in a row. So, maybe there's an edge in the line there. So there's a lot to look forward to. And, of course, some people like to bet now. Be the first ones down. I kind of like that line at 2.5. Anytime you're giving less than a field goal at home, that's something that is going to be appealing to people.
Yeah. So we did have a comment up through. Always Nick said running, not deep. I don't know, man. But he said, how do you think the Birds will match up against the Cowboys this year? How do you think that?
Wow, that's really going to be. I don't know how much they've closed the gap. Now, Johnny Avello thought they closed it some, but it all depends on how well is Dak Prescott really Dak Prescott when they really need it. That's a team that all of a sudden Zeke Elliott looked very ordinary.
Yeah,
last year he's down to being half of a back, and when they bowed out. Right. And their playoff loss, they just look very dysfunctional. If they can't blow you out with their power players and they have to grind it out, they're not good with that. So they might still be above the Eagles, but yeah, they are vulnerable, that team. They are vulnerable. And by the way, DraftKings did not think that the Cowboys had a good draft.
That is our friend Nick from Play USA. He was nice enough to be check us out on our first live stream. So
all right, Nick.
But I agree with you with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are still better than the Eagles, but I think they are a big team that needs to outscore their opponent because they're going to give up points. I totally agree with that. So yeah, I'm not as worried about the Cowboys as I am about the Commanders. I was going to say the Redskins, the Commanders. I think they still have a solid defense. I think they were a bit underrated last year, and you know me, I'm I'm still a Carson Wentz fan. I still think he's a good quarterback. Um, he had a good year last year. He choked in the end, but on a new team, um, in a new system, I think he had a decent year last year if you look at his numbers. But I feel like both teams kind of left a bad taste in their mouth. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I might have been wrong about him being not being a nuisance in the locker room, but I mean that's two teams and it's even a coach that hasn't come out and even backed him up. His buddy Frank Wright, he's hasn't
Frank
come out.
Reich was his real pal, and then did not stop that move from Indianapolis to the Commanders last year. He really did have a bad final game against Jacksonville,
Hmm.
and they had some bad breaks early. I think one more win, had they gotten in, they would have been okay to maybe keep him for another year. I really think they were better with Taylor Heineke last year than with their other quarterbacks. He's a good quarterback, Heineke. So that is going to be an interesting. And according to your schedule, that's up there in week 3, right?
Yeah, yeah, it looks like it is.
Waiting to be confirmed. But okay,
Yeah, I mean, obviously they may have confirmed it, like, and I may have missed it I wasn't listening to the NFL Network. But yeah, let's say right here we got so week 3 against the Commanders. Yeah, so Carson Wentz week 3. We'll see. We'll see what kind of ovation he gets. I like I said, I think the fans were are a little upset because he kind of ran his way out. I mean, he just wasn't happy here, and I think as a proud Philly fan base, we don't like that. You don't want to be here. Like, you
yeah.
don't want
Well,
to be
once they
here.
benched
You
them,
don't want to be
yeah,
in Philly. Like, you kidding me? But no,
you don't
yeah,
leave.
yeah,
You don't leave here. We
yeah,
kick
yeah.
you
We
out.
yeah we tell you when you can leave. It's
Yeah,
like
we
that.
tell you when you can leave.
Yeah,
I think that
like that movie where he's like, now you can't leave, right?
now you
Yeah,
can't leave
yeah.
is
Now
right.
you can't leave. But
I do not believe. I think the Carson Wentz went as far as he was going to go
mhm,
with the Eagles. I don't think he's been the same, or it's a shame, but he hasn't been the same since that injury. He was
yeah,
playing a phenomenal in that year leading up to the Super Bowl that the Eagles attained, and something with his rhythm has been off since then. His
yeah,
timing. Last year they helped him with a good run game, and they protected him as they had with Philip Rivers. So you know what? I think that I really don't think they'll be too hard on him because they got picks for him, and he went to Frank Reich, who'd been a former Eagle. So maybe they'll be good for him. But now and then you got Jacksonville the week after that, according to what you have up there, right?
yeah, yeah. So it looks like Jacksonville is gonna be in week 4. Um, and with Jacksonville, I mean, they had a decent draft. I never count out a team before the season starts because you just never know.
Right.
Especially a team that had the draft power. And I mean, when you're a bad team, you have a chance to big time make over your team because you have draft picks, you have draft capital, stuff like
Right.
that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they got their quarterback now. I think they feel like they have their quarterback for a long time. So we'll see. So we'll see what happens with them. I think that's a win for the Eagles. I do.
I,
I just think.
I,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If we're gonna have some fun, I see 3-1 after 4 games. I mean, it's only May. Why don't we have some fun with projections? I see 3-1 after 4 games. I see the cookie win you're talking about. I see
There we
the
go.
that's the
There we go.
official.
That's more official here. So yeah.
Let's take a closer look here. I'll even put on the. Okay. Well, Pete, why don't you take us through that? Take
Okay.
us through that. Go a little week by week, and
Okay.
why don't you give us a little of your commentary on each week? Just the first thing that pops into your head
Yeah.
each week going through.
Well, first, Nick asked Dave Dave. Do you or any other Eagles fan want the Kelly Green jersey back full time, or is it not that big of an issue? Me personally, I love the Kelly Green, but as far as having it back full time, I like the black. I like dark colors. I think it makes you look mean. I love the all black uniforms. They haven't used that nearly enough. But yeah, they got to use the Kelly green more than once every 5 seasons. I know the big
Yeah.
yeah I know the big issue was with Lori's wife hated it, and Jeff Lurie, the owner, his wife hated it, but I think they're divorced. They've been divorced for a little bit, so I think Jeff Lurie, there was like kind of rumors that he was going to bring it back next year. Um, so yeah, I think it is a big deal in Philly. I think people have been clamoring for it for a while. I have T-shirts. I think I have 4 or 5 T-shirts, Eagles T-shirts, and 3 of them are like old vintage Kelly Green ones. So I would
It's
see it.
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because, and I like the Kelly Green because of this. There is something about uniforms that age groups identify with. And when
Hmm.
you started to follow a team as a young man, as a young woman, you identify with those colors. So I
Yeah.
like the Kelly Green for the Eagles, just like I love the Orange Crush for the Denver Broncos. Now, our
Mm.
friends in Play Colorado and the play sites there, they came and saw John Elway win a couple of Super Bowls with the colors a little different than what was there in the '70s with the Craig Mortons and
Yeah.
those people. But I adored that orange color,
Mm.
the Orange Crush for
Yeah.
the Denver Broncos, and I think that that's what you identify with. So it's a good question because there's a lot more emotional connection to colors than people realize with the
Yeah.
uniform.
Yeah, I think so. And I've always liked the vintage colors of a lot of teams. I like the old Houston Astros, stuff like that
Yes.
is
Oh,
it's cool. I mean, I feel like if you're a '90s kid, everybody had like a Charlotte Hornets jacket, even if you weren't a Charlotte
right.
Hornets fan, just because of the teal. But yeah, I feel like people, it's yeah, it kind of brings them back to their past when they were younger and they really were big fans. So um, to answer your question, yeah, I think it is a it's not an issue, but it is a bigger deal in Philly as
It,
far as
it,
the
it, it,
Kelly
it-
Green.
it's very important. Just like, okay, I like the Phillies throwback uniforms from the '70s when they had them on because they were very good then. They were dominant. They were winning division
True.
titles, and you associate that with with certain things. I liked the '64 ones for different reasons.
Hmm.
They just so it's good to see all those. It's the same thing as Pete when teams change names. That is an emotional issue for people that followed them. So if you're Washington, you are a Redskin. Now there won't be too many people saying, "Oh my God, I remember the football team," because you had it for a very short time. But when you change names like that, there is a fan base that will get alienated, who remember those times. And what you're telling them is it's not your team anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I I would be pretty upset too. I mean, if my team, especially if they switch cities, you know, what I mean, it kind of
Oh,
I don't know how that is. I don't never happened here because we have a good fan base, but
yeah.
yeah, let's go through the schedule here. So yeah, I'll go through week by week. I kind of will give you an idea of what I think each game it means to them, and if they can win or lose these games.
Hey, you take a week, you make a comment, and after your comment, I'll make a comment. Leave it up there, people
Okay.
can watch it, and then that's what we'll do.
Yeah. So yeah, week one, I was already talking about that. I think that's kind of a cookie for them. I mean, we saw them with um, last year's team kind of against the Detroit Lions, kind of run over the Lions, and this year I think we have a lot better offense. I mean, we have offensive weapons. We AJ Brown, obviously, everybody talking about AJ Brown. You have him on the other side of Smith, and hopefully Rager stays far, far, far on the bench, and then we're good. I mean, we got we got a healthy Miles Sanders. We got a healthy offensive line, so I think that's a win, easy win.
And I would agree with that because you also have the ball control aspect of the Eagles' offense. Brown coming in and giving Devontae Smith some help over there, so that neither one of them can be keyed on. That's one thing I'm going to look forward to in that game, seeing the two of them together and how will defenses react now that they can't double team both guys, so one guy will be free. And that's also the game we saw special teams defensive scores for the
Mm-hmm.
Eagles defense. So
Yep.
I'm curious how they show up in this game too, and whether that will be a confidence builder. So you and I agree after week one, Eagles are 1-0.
1-0, 1-0. Week two, So they are in Philly. It's their home opener. Um, Home opener is always big here. I think the fans really come out, and the Eagles are a good home team field. I mean, team besides maybe last year or the year before. I don't think their home team win stats were matched up with usual years. But I think Minnesota is a young team. I think they have. I mean, I think they have a good team, but I still think they're still young and they have a lot of figuring out to do. This is tough. I mean, I'm going to say it's a win, but if they lose, I wouldn't be shocked because it's the beginning of the season. This team is a kind of slow starting team. We saw that last year, and I'm going to say a loss. I'm going to say 1-1. I'm going to say I don't think.
I'm the same way. And the 2.5-point spread that DraftKings has put up has indicated exactly the parity of this game. Because if you say to yourself, well, the home field is worth 2.5 points, 3 points, now they're telling you it's a dead even game. For some reason, in recent times, they've had difficulty against Minnesota. They've come up smaller than you think they will, some crazy touchdown. And you've also got the Justin Jefferson returning to Philly. The Eagles could have had him, and they got Rager. Does Cousins make one more play than Jalen Hurts? You do know that Kirk Cousins will throw one very bad pass somewhere in this game.
There's always one. There's always one bad pass.
You just don't know when that will be. You've got Davin Cook. So anyway, I would peg that as maybe too much pressure on the changes coming in, and I see a narrow loss in that game for the Eagles, and so I see them coming out of that one at 1-1.
Yeah, me too. So week 3, this is interesting because I think they're going to split with the Commanders, but I think they're going to win in Washington. I think they're going to win week 3. I don't know. I just think it's going to take a few weeks for, like I said, Washington has a good defense. I think it's going to take a few weeks for their offense to put it together. They have a new quarterback. So I think it's going to be a close game. And if division games are always kind of a coin flip in this division, no matter how bad or good a team is. So I'm going to say a win. I'm going to say 2-1.
And that's another thing. I'm going to agree with that because the Eagles, they've had Washington's number there recently in Washington. And they won a very big game there last year, a had-to-have-it game after beating the Giants real big. And they did struggle, but they found a way to get that game done, making a play right at the end. And on a day when not much was going their way, they figured out how to beat Washington down there. And that seems to be one place that they are comfortable playing away from home. Washington is one division rival they're like that with, and the New York Giants are another team that they're comfortable playing away from Citizens Bank Park. So I'm with you there. And since I saw 3-1, I guess I would have had to tip myself there that I had the Eagles defeating Washington in that one.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I like I said, coin flip. So yeah, week 4 they're playing at home, and that's going to be the Jaguars game. I think that is. I don't know if that's a night game. No, I'm sorry. That's a Sunday game, 1 p.m. I think they beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars have definitely got better, but I just don't think they're not. I don't think they're close to the Eagles yet. I don't think they're close to a lot of teams. I think it's going to take a bit for them to kind of rebuild that team. So I'm going to say easy win for the Eagles.
I think the Eagles will do what is necessary and come out with a victory there too, especially if they've lost their home opener like we think against Minnesota. They'll really be coming out for bear at home. So I agree with you. That's a win for the Birds in week 4.
Yeah. So for anybody that wants to know, halftime, Sixers are down 1 point to the Heat. It's halftime right now. Just figure I'd throw it up there for you. Week 5. It's gonna be a tough game. The only thing is though, Hopkins is not gonna. He's suspended for 6 weeks, and that's like that. That's their number one wide receiver. So I just think that kind of gives them a bit of a break. If DeAndre Hopkins is playing that game, I would say blowout, because we just don't do good against superstar wide receivers or superstar tight ends. I think so. Yeah, against the Cardinals, week 5, I think I think they lose that game. It's in Arizona, uh, so I don't think they win that game.
And I'm with you. I think that's been a tough place for them to play. Jalen Hurts, yeah, I remember that was his first big game as a starter, his second one, but his first big performance. We saw those 3 second quarter touchdowns when they played it. They said, "Oh, here we come with this guy," and then they couldn't get that type of
Yeah.
production since. Arizona just seemed to find a way out there. I'm very curious to see what we're going to get out of Kyler Murray this year because there were some bad signs for him at the end of last year. Not being able to make that play off of the left side where he would fake into the line and then move over to his left, and then there was no place for that.
Yeah.
And I think his ability, I think the Eagles' offense will play okay, but I think the Eagles' defense not having come along enough yet maybe would cost them there. And I see an Arizona victory in week 5.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, with Kyler Murray, if you look at his stats and the games that DeAndre Hopkins played against the games they didn't, he looked amazing when he played, and he didn't just look like average. He looked bad. He looked downright bad when DeAndre Hopkins wasn't playing. So
Yes.
So I have a little hope there, but it's in Arizona, West Coast game, so you never know.
Yeah, I would concur there. Sure.
Yeah. So week 6, Sunday night game against the Cowboys. It's at home. They need this game. They really do, because they played the Cowboys again right at the end of their schedule when it's tough. They have 3 away games in a row. The Cowboys seem to always get that home game when their people are traveling. The NFL favors the Cowboys. I think everybody knows that. Even Cowboys fans will admit it. So, and that game's on the game at the end of the season is on Christmas Eve. So they have to win this week 6 game. And I think they know that. And I think they're going to beat the Cowboys the first game they play them.
All right, now there's where we'll diverge, which will be interesting here because it's fine. You and I better make sure those first 5 weeks that we text each other just before those games and say, make sure you got your bet down, right? Because we see it the same.
Yeah.
I'm going to still say, show me a little bit more. I don't like how they matched up with the Cowboys either time last year, including the final game was just I wish that would have been they could make a statement in that game, even though it didn't have the same impact. So I'm going to say the troubles against the Cowboys continue in week 6. And I'll look at that one of those strange losses where something will happen you don't even think about and see yet, and it costs them. So I'll put that down as a loss for them.
All right. Yeah. So after 6 weeks, week 7 is going to be their bye. I think I'm at 4 wins, 2 losses, which is better than I thought I was going to be at, to be honest. I'm not totally sold on this Eagles team, but I'm definitely not sold on Jalen Hurts.
Right.
So I guess I was optimistic 4-2 for me. I think are you about to say, did you?
I'm 3-3.
3-3.
But remember, the 3-3 counts a loss to the Vikings and a loss to the Cowboys. Well, you jump up and overachieve in either of those games.
Yeah.
And now you've got something going. Whereas I don't see them slipping against Detroit or Jacksonville. So the games we think they're going to win, I think they come out in. And then, the Washington game could be a nail biter right to the end. But but we both got them in stalking position after 6 games of the season, and then the week 7 bye.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I mean, those games could be toss ups. So week 8, we're at home. We play the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like we always play them bad. I don't know why. I don't even know if that's right, but I feel like we always lose to them. I gotta probably look at the breakdown, but the Steelers, they don't have Roethlisberger, right? So it's at home. it's basically a pretty much a rebuilding Steelers team. That's one team I don't really pay too much attention to. I paid a lot of attention to even a lot of the AFC teams I do, but the Steelers I can't really get a grasp on them. Yeah. Mitch Trubisky's behind. Is Trubisky the yeah? Trubisky is the
Well, but they might go with Kenny Pickett though. They drafted him,
yeah.
and he's a
They
Pittsburgh
did draft
guy.
Pickett. Nick said Trubisky's behind center. If Trubisky's behind center, I'm guessing you're saying, Nick, it's 50-50. So it looks like from what I did right, it looks like Trubisky's going to get the start in the beginning of the season, and unless Pickett beats him out in training camp. But by week 8, Pickett could be the starter. So
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
know. So yeah, I think that's a win. I even though I feel like I'm always like the Steelers were so good for so long, and they're finally like in this rebuilding mode that you're not used to seeing. You kind of got to get used to. So I'm gonna go with a win on against the Steelers because it's at home. If they were away, if it was in Pittsburgh, I probably would have taken a loss, but I'm gonna take a win.
Well, I'm going to go with a victory there too because yeah, Pickett has to prove himself, and Jalen Hurts now. He's been in the league basically second full season, parts of 3 years. Miles Sanders ran very well
Mm-hmm.
against Pittsburgh the last time that they faced him. The wide receivers did very well against the Pittsburgh secondary. Pittsburgh basically did it on fumes, band-aids, and all types of things to sneak into the playoffs
They did.
last year. And then, and
Yeah.
Roethlisberger, really, he rose up, but he couldn't throw the deep ball. So they're a team that at some point they've had to come crashing. What's amazing is that Mike Tomlin, in all of his years in the league, Pete, has never had a losing season.
Is
He's
that
had a
right?
couple of eight
Wow,
and eights,
that's insane.
couple of 8 and 8s, but and last year they were
Hmm.
they went and beat Baltimore in the final week. But I think that's a team in disarray with their receivers. They're undisciplined. I think sometimes some of the players are running that team a little too much. So I see this as a game in which the Eagles take a step forward and show this is a new year, and I put that down as a W for Philadelphia.
Yeah, yeah, I could. Yeah, I didn't even know that Tomlin has never had a losing season. That's pretty insane when you think about it like that. And I was a little bitter that the Steelers kind of snuck in last year because there was the last, I don't know if it was the last game or I think I had a wager on I don't know if it was the overall or some kind of points, and I remember Roethlisberger threw some like crazy last second touchdown when they already had the game won well in hand, and it like screwed up my over. I probably took the under or something like that, and
Yes.
it was like a big
Okay.
it was like a big parlay or something, and everybody's cheering on him. It's just, he's as he goes off into the sunset. I'm like, no. So I always have a bad taste in my mouth now because of that.
Forget your
It was probably a
sunset.
couple
Yeah.
$100, but still, I don't
Hey,
know.
sometimes these people do. You got burned on. You got burned on a few of them last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
You had some right in your pocket until the very
yeah,
until
the Giants Washington game
that one that was a
that hurt.
that one was a beautiful pick, and the Giants jumped off side, so the kick to decide the game was initially no good,
That
and then
yeah
they
that and
called
then
them
they kicked a
back
good
out of
and
the
then he
field.
kicked it.
Yeah,
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 that was a heartbreaker.
oh, you know it. So
Um,
yeah, I think the Steelers and the Eagles game to me will represent a bit of a changing of the guard for the two teams in the coming season. So I would have them 4-3 after that. After that,
yeah, so I would be what is that 5 and
you
2?
might
That's
you
five
might
and
be 5-2
that's
after
5 and
that,
2.
but
Okay.
okay.
So yeah, week 9 they play and it's is it the Texans. Is that a Sunday night game? Or is that a Thursday night game? Let's see. November it's November 3rd. Let's find out here.
But the
Thursday.
game is
That's their Thursday night game. Okay. So they play
Thursday night
Thursday
game.
against
Okay,
the Texans in Houston. Um, the Texans are I don't even know what the Texans are because They were awful last year. They didn't have a quarterback. But I feel like this is going to be a tough game because it's a short week. They have to travel to Texas. But I can't make it. Even though I'm saying six, like I'm going to say a win. I can't see them losing to the Texans.
Well, and it's good to look at it as each individual week,
Yeah,
and not like overthink it like some people say. Oh, you know what? I gave them a win earlier in a close game. I'll take it away from them now to keep
yeah.
my
I
perspective.
can't. I cannot give them a loss
Just
against that team.
we'll go through this and see where it takes us. I project a win there, and I would then have them 5-3 after 8 weeks, and you would have them 6-2. Talking about a parade down Broad Street, but there's no pressure there. Okay, so now we're halfway through, almost halfway through. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. So this is where the kind of the tide turns here for them. This is going to be a tough end of the schedule. So this is their Sunday night. No, this is their Monday night game against Washington, at home, if I'm correct. Yeah. So yeah, it's the Monday night game against Washington in Philly. Um, I did originally have them splitting with Washington, but as I'm kind of thinking about it and going through the schedule, I think I think they see this is gonna be like, what is it? It's not a short week for them. They kind of get a break, so I think they win this game. They get a little bit of extra rest. Yeah, I'm gonna say win. I'm gonna say they sweep the Commanders, right?
I think so too. I do not see them losing to Carson Wentz, and I see them just having more weapons than Washington. It's a tough division battle,
Hmm.
but I think that they have a little bit more than Washington. So that's a win for me with them.
Yeah, and this is where, like I was saying earlier, week 11 is where the wheels might fall off a bit. Um, they just have to try to win the games they're supposed to win. Week 11 they play the Colts. I think they take the loss against the Colts. To be honest, I know they didn't make the playoffs last year, but I think the Colts are a better team than that. And they're in Indianapolis. Yeah, I think they definitely lose that game against the Colts. It's gonna be tough for them to beat that team on the road.
I think so too. They'll play hard, and but the Colts are very strong there, and I would say that they'll have a tough time getting it done there. So that will be for me their fourth loss of the season.
Okay. And then we have Green Bay, another Sunday night game. Um, and I mean, Green Bay is what they are. I mean, they're just. I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers. That team is always going to be good with him. So I'm going to give them a loss against Green Bay, even though it's
I,
home.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go the same way. Just keep in mind, though, all the people who tune and the betters. A lot of people may not realize because, you look at the off-season news and you don't grasp it all, and then all of a sudden you see the Packers the next year. You say, "Oh, what? No Devontae Adams?"
Yeah.
Yes, Devontae Adams went to the Las Vegas Raiders, so the Packers will have to be breaking in a new receiver, which they'll be trying to do with Rodgers. Nonetheless, you figure by this point in the season, he'll have found somebody to pick up that slack. And he's Aaron Rodgers. He makes plays that nobody else does, and keeps plays alive longer than nobody else does. He'll hit a fifth receiver, a sixth receiver. So yeah, I would say that's a loss too.
Yeah. And just like you said, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's one of those quarterbacks that it might not matter what receivers he has. And to be honest, we saw last year. If Jonathan Gannon, you know me, I'm not a fan of Jonathan Gannon. If something doesn't change, quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers are going to have season games because of the way how good they are and how easy they can read our defense. I mean, you saw it last year with Brady. You even saw it like against Dak Prescott. I mean, Dak Prescott's not known as this crazy intelligent quarterback like Brady is. I mean, he's a smart quarterback, but he he knew what our defense was showing almost every play, and you could just tell he knew. So going against a quarterback like Rodgers, it doesn't matter who he's throwing to. If Gannon doesn't bring a more diverse um, defensive playbook, then it's going to be tough to, especially beating average to above average to Hall of Famers like Rodgers. So yeah,
It's called the pocket, and if you let him sit in a rocking chair in that pocket, anybody can be really good. So
that is
that's going to be a matchup to see
yep,
if they can put any pressure on. Okay, in agreement there. What's our next one up?
true. So yeah, next is a home game. It's they're going to be playing the Tennessee Titans at home. Titans are a good team. Um, I think they're one of the teams that are starting to get it like all together. I think they I just think they're just a good. I mean, they have one of the best running backs in the league. They have uh, they have just a good offense. It's just a consistently good offense, and I think they lose. I think they fall that game. I think they lose that game.
Yeah, and I'm going to say there's got to be one upset that they come through a little bit. And what's the surprise game that they rise a little bit? Maybe it's that one
Maybe.
that because you got AJ Brown, no longer Ryan Tannehill's big target. Ryan Tannehill's not happy with how that was handled. He did not know that they were going to trade AJ Brown. He also did not know that they were going to draft a quarterback and
Yeah.
trade up to do it at the end of the draft. So there might be some turmoil in Tennessee. And we saw that the Cincinnati Bengals were able to put the brakes on Derrick Henry in that playoff game. And there's something about the way that the Titans and Tannehill bowed out of that playoff game that make me think they may not be as good as they have
Maybe.
been in recent years this year. And so I'm going to take a flyer that it shows up
Hmm.
next year and that it shows up in this game. So I'm going to say that the Eagles uh, will make one statement win that they're not supposed to make, and this may be the game. So I'll take a shot with them here.
Okay. Yeah. Looks like somebody asked. Philly Troll asked, "What was your favorite Eagles draft pick this year?" With me, easy N'Kobe Dean. I think that was a super. It was a steal of the draft, steal of the Howie Roseman's career. I think N'Kobe Dean is a first round pick all day. I feel like he was the victim of kind of social media, what social media is today. Everybody kind of has a say, and it doesn't matter if it's the truth. And I like the guy. I like his. He's not only is he great on the field, apparently the guy's like super smart. He's never had below an A in high school and college. And N'Kobe Dean, easy question. Thanks for your question.
Oh, it's good. I agreed with that too. Unless you wanted to say what was your favorite move, and was that the packaging of the draft picks for AJ Brown
Hmm.
because that came in the draft as well. But the favorite pick, I agree, him dropping down there to number 3 was a nice get for them. And I didn't think he got as much attention as some other players on that line for the championship team. So I think he's going to end up being a star player. And I am very curious to see what anybody says come training camp about that. Was it or was it not a pec injury? That's the one that people reacted to and caused the drop that you're referring to for him to go from the first to the third spot. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yep, that was a good get for him. And the AJ Brown move was a good move for Howie Roseman in stockpiling picks and then using them at the right time.
Yeah, I think that was surprising to me. It was probably the most surprising thing they did in the draft. Um, but I still love that Dean. Just that Kobe Dean. I think he. I mean, I think it was an easy pick because if you know anything about football, which he's a GM of the team, I feel like you see him and you're like, what is going on in him there? But yeah,
Yeah, how did
AJ
he
Brown
drop?
was it was a smart package move. I mean, I think they didn't get their guy in the first round, so then they were like, okay, they had Plan B, and that was their Plan B, and it worked out. Well, we'll see if it worked out, but I think it worked out for him. I think AJ Brown is a great pick, is a great pickup.
Hey,
So
you know what the funny thing about the draft is too? Nobody can be proven wrong on draft night. And that's why everybody loves it. and you can field the questions, and you can always look smart because either you went by some book, and that means there's some method to the madness, or you stockpile picks. And well, we didn't get everybody one, but we have picks though too now. Okay, as long as you got some picks, you've always got some place to go. And I think that the media, the fans, the betters, they all like to go along with this. And I have to give the NFL some credit for creating interest in something that no other sport can get you to care
That's true.
about
That
their draft like this, and they can put it on TV. They can have betting rounds on it. I mean, I know there's only 17 games, so there's fewer of it, but still, uh, uh, marketing genius to them for making people get this excited about the NFL in April and now in May.
I mean, yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, because if you have an argument about like what because MLB you don't see those guys for a few years. NHL's the same way, but NBA you see those guys right away, and nobody really. I mean, people only care about the first 3-4 picks of that. So
Yes, yes, yep, that's right. But that's it's always a good thing about a draft night. And I remember reading Next Man Up and the all the stuff that goes on about draft nights and the lobbying and well, you owe me this one, so I gave you that one. And because let's just say you and I are different coaches, because you owed me one, we went with my guy in round 14, and that affects who made the team.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, how did this guy become a starter? Well, because Pete O'Dave won, and you had no idea. So there's just all this fun stuff when you look at it. So yeah, thanks for the question. That's a good and that's a pretty good consensus by Eagles fans about who their guy was
yeah.
this draft.
So moving
So
on,
we're
we
as
have
far as the Titans game, and then what's after that for us?
so we got the Giants. We're gonna be away at the. Is that what you said? Yeah, we're at the Giants game.
After the Tennessee was the last one we discussed.
Yeah, so it's going to be a Sunday day game against Giants in New York. I think we split with that. I think we split with the Giants, and I think it's going to be away home. So I think that's actually, I think that's a loss. I think that's would that be 4 losses in a row for me? Yeah, that would be 4 losses in a row. So like I said, I wasn't. I really did, like I've said, this is going to be a tough end of the schedule, and it's kind of like coming all together in my head. So they have to get through mentally that if this does happen, where they do 3-4 losses in a row at this part of the schedule, they kind of just got to forget those games and just keep moving on, because this is going to be a tough stretch, because they have 3 away games in a row against 2 divisional teams, and it's going to be tough.
The Giants, I'm going to go with a victory there, because the Giants do not show a capacity to score. Now, I mean, you may get a different opinion of the team when they go into camp, but yeah, Saquon Barkley looks a couple steps slower. He doesn't have that breakaway threat in the backfield. They made all those moves at wide receiver. Kenny Golladay didn't score.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big offseason acquisition. There is something going on wrong with that offensive dynamic, that a team that was supposed to be much better as an offensive passing machine last year just wasn't. Their defense is pretty good, but they just cannot put up the points. And I might see a low-scoring game, but I see a victory by the Eagles. The Giants cannot seem to to score quickly. They need too long to make a touchdown drive. And I think that, and it's one of these things, they'll play very tough for about 3 quarters. And then I think the Eagles beat them late. That's how I see that game.
That has shown. Yeah, so that would be, would that be, so Nick's saying that we have week 14 is actually a Monday night appearance per ESPN. Let me see. Is that a Monday night? It's because they're on this thing. It says it's a 1 p.m. game, so that wouldn't be. But that might have came out. That might have been a little premature here.
That's the Giants game, or the one after you're talking about?
The Giants game. I think that's what he's saying. Week 14, week 2. Obviously, we know week 2, and then week 14, which is on the 11th. Is the 11th? Let's see. When is the 11th here? Oh, week 10. Okay, yeah, he got it mixed up. So week 10, yeah, week 10 is going to be Monday night and week 2. Okay,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
November 14th. Okay, yeah, I was just double checking because this might not be official. I might have got this prematurely, but it looks like it's right. So yeah, week 15 they're playing the Bears. This game is one of the. There's a few games on here that I honestly I don't know. I don't know how the Bears are going to be. I don't. I didn't really pay too much attention to them last year. I mean, we never really talked about them. I haven't. I mean, Justin Fields is. I don't know. I don't know what Justin Fields is. They have they have a decent running back, but it's Justin Fields is the only name I really kind of jumps out at me. Is he the
He's a
Justin Fields?
yeah,
Yeah,
he's a very good running quarterback.
yeah.
Very good running quarterback, and it's a matter of if he gets the touch, this year. And the Eagles just sometimes when they play the Bears, they just seem like a little off. Maybe not the same division intensity, and you know, I'm going to say that, and myself. It could be a blowout the other way, but I'm going to say that they lose that game. It's just something about they might trip over a team like this. It'll be a game they should win, but I haven't come across a game yet this year which I said they should win and they don't.
Yeah,
So I'll say that maybe
that's
this is
good.
the game that they should win that they don't. You figure there's got to be at least one, so I'll vote for that one.
I wish I was as accurate with the Eagles as I was with the Bengals
Oh, you
last
had a
year.
great year at the Bengals. Yes, you did.
They were my moneymaker, man. I saw it right away. I mean, Joe Burrow. People forgot how good he was last year, and they
Yeah.
forgot that he got an insane target that he didn't have last year, and he was still good. And I remember they were underdogs for like the first couple of games. And I'm like, you're crazy. So I took those points all day. But yeah, Nick
Yes.
is actually a Chicago fan, so he's probably happy you said that. I disagree. I think these last two games they might split these last two games with the Giants and Chicago, and they could win or lose either one. But I think they go into Chicago, and I think they beat up on the Bears. I think they're good at beating up on young quarterbacks, but we'll see. It's a different defensive look, defensive team. A lot of new big names on our team. I think we definitely upgraded on defense. But like I said, it always comes down to, for me, Jonathan Gannon. Can this guy change his game up to what our strengths are? Is yet to be seen.
Okay. Okay.
Week 16. This is the week I'm nervous about this. I don't think this is going to be on Christmas Eve. It's a short week. Wait, is it a short week? Yeah. Well, it's Christmas Eve, but yeah, I just don't think they can beat the Cowboys in Dallas. Because I think the Cowboys are actually a better team than them on paper. I think Dak Prescott is really good against us all the time, and it's in Dallas. I feel like if they're going to split, it's going to split that way where it's home away.
I agree. I've got the Eagles actually losing both games to the Cowboys this year, so we'll see. But I think I have them winning every other game in the division to go 4-2
Oh, you
in the
have them.
division.
Okay.
I have them sweeping the Giants and Washington. So therefore, yeah, and I agree. I think that's a loss on Christmas Eve. That just seems to fit right there with Cowboys personnel and how they play against the Eagles. They blew the Eagles out there in Week 3 last year on Monday Night Football in a high-profile game, and I don't think they've come down, or the Eagles have come up enough to change that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they always had a good defense. I feel like always a good offense. Last year, I feel like they did upgrade their defense. I mean, especially on paper, like you said, they didn't put it together all season. There's a team. I feel like the Cowboys, when not playing good, they are a very dysfunctional team. A lot of big personalities, so that could hurt them in the end. But yeah, I think the Cowboys kind of have our number right now, unfortunately. So yeah, so that would be going to week 17. We come the road trip's over. I mean that was three away games. So they come back to Philly, playing against a Saints team that, quite frankly, doesn't know what they're doing at their quarterback position. They got a couple good weapons on offense, but I think they win that game. I think the Saints are a shell of themselves. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. They don't know who the quarterback is, and they've had no real no success there. And you know, uh, there's such a different team when Alvin Kamara is not dominating the game. You know, it's like, and if you take away those other weapons, uh, and they've been playing in transition for a couple of years, so I agree with you. That and they basically the personnel of the Saints is no different than last year when the Eagles ran roughshod over them and what was one of their best efforts of the year. Kind of the game where we started to say on Why Eagles Why, we thought the Eagles were starting to come
Yeah.
last year. So yeah, I think that's a victory too for the Eagles.
Yeah. The only problem is, like I said before, I just think it's gonna work the opposite for them this year. Their schedule. I feel like their schedule in the beginning of the season is a lot easier than towards the end of the season. But I mean, we'll see what happens. You know, you just don't know. I mean, we can only speculate. So yeah, week 18, last week of the year, last week of the season, they played the Giants at home. I think they win that game. So I think they, yeah, yeah, I think they beat the Giants at home. I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think the
Well,
Giants are that good.
and I do too. So before we went on, I'm saying to myself, I see 10-7 with this team. As we went through, I'd have to go. Maybe I ended up with 11-6 because of the Titans game being a reach. But just even with that, it encourages me that if I see that over 9 still at the sites, I'm plucking something, a little something down on the over because I think they get at least one more win over last year. If they get two, that's great. But I still see them right around that 10 mark. And, you know, a couple of these picks we're making will be close. But it's fun to talk about in May. And
Mm-hmm.
like it's coming. It is
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
It's 3 months since the Super Bowl's been played. Schedule's up. You know, Target's there,
that's
and
right.
pretty soon there will be news in the camps. You know,
Yeah. I think I wasn't putting it together. I think I was about 10-7. I think
I yeah, I think that you're probably uh, I think we're right around, and we'll go through. We may see a little difference. I think after the 6 game mark, I was 3-3, and you were 4-2, and
Mm-hmm.
then I had them getting hotter in the middle, and you saw a couple of bumps I didn't, and then at the end, I think we both have them playing pretty well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So when you look at it that way, yeah, 10 wins feels right to me, and you know, I'm probably going to put something on the over if I still see that that's 9. And remember, Eagles fans and bettors, you will see lines on the entire season, according to Johnny Avello of DraftKings, very soon after the schedule goes up, possibly as early as Friday. So we'll see it as we report back on subsequent videos. Now, this is our video to discuss the breaking news of the schedule being released. Pete and Bill Gelman and I will have another one on breaking down the Eagles season. So make sure you link back and check with that one on Why Eagles Why. So we'll have two perspectives of the Eagles and what we think is happening. We do know there's a lot of excitement. Now, before we head this out, Pete, do you have any closing thoughts and any summaries about what we talked about here and what you see on the Eagles schedule? And did you see anything different, hear anything different while we were talking over the last hour about any of the schedules involving the teams?
No, because it was kind of hard to to watch, but there might stuff might come out as far as like the last week of the season. They don't know if they're I don't know if they're playing on Sunday or Monday. It's I don't know what because it says right here the 7th or 8th. I don't know what that means. It's they're I guess let's see. Oh no, Saturday or Sunday. That's right. That's right. I don't think they have another Monday game. So it looks like they could be playing Saturday or Sunday. I don't know why. I have to look at play. Somebody asked the question. Jimmy asked, best team in the division. I would say the Cowboys.
Yeah,
Cowboys. I mean, I think the Cowboys, the Commanders, and the Eagles are close, and I think the Giants are far behind. That's just my opinion. I do think the Commanders are better than probably a lot of people think. I just think defenses. You have a strong foundation, you have a good, strong defense, and I think the Commanders have a good defense. So, and they have a good coach. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
They do. They do. It's been my feeling that they were that they're better chances. I thought Taylor Heineke was very underrated. So I look for the Commanders to go down a little. I see the Eagles as the solid second team in that NFC East, and that's what's great for the. That's what's great for the arguments and the discussions in May.
Yeah,
It's in May, and you say, "Oh, I see this game this way." No, maybe you see it this game. There's going to be a shock or two, both at home and on the road. But one thing I think there is a consensus is that whereas last year people were saying the Eagles had won 4 games, how bad are they? I think this year they're saying, can this team be better than pretty good? So it's still we're talking about a team that is not a bad team anymore. And actually, there are some expectations on this team to grow a step this year.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, we got a comment. 10-7 or 9-8 season going to come down to Hurts. I totally agree. It's like I don't have a lot of faith in Hurts, but I don't think this offense has to revolve around him. I think if Sirianni sticks with what we know, what we're good at, we have a good offensive line. Stick with the run first team, and then we have a couple big targets that you can put up some yardage with AJ Brown and Smith. So and Goddard. So I think you kind of beat them up on the ground and then go over the top. I think that's how the Eagles have to kind of do things. With the Eagles, they have to win the games in the trenches. I think their offensive line is like the heart of that team, and I think it all revolves around that. As long as Sirianni doesn't try to air out the ball 50 times a game, I think 10-7, 9-8 is probably right. About a couple days ago, I don't know if it's still this, but BetMGM was and DraftKings was 9 was their win total over under.
And Caesars also had.
Yeah, if it's still 9, I mean, I would probably take the over on that because I just think they're better than last year. But their schedule is a lot harder than last year, so it's a lot more questions. I guess we used to say last year you saw like kind of the culmination of their schedule, just like the players. I mean, the teams they played,
and the Giants had fallen a lot,
and they played a lot of bad quarterbacks last year. They played a couple elite quarterbacks, but they played mostly low 25 to 30 ranked quarterbacks. So
they really did. I think that some intangibles come into play here too. Does AJ Brown is he a me first guy? We don't know. I mean, he really was. He was down on the Tennessee organization. With these guys, what happens if they don't get the rock enough? Maybe if they're winning, no complaining. But
I think so. Yeah, if they're winning, I don't think they're complaining. Especially the first year.
If something is not right, if they run first, I don't know. So that you have to. That's what you have to take into account for the possibility. But I think
if they're winning the first year, even if he's not getting the targets that he wants the first year, it's not going to be a problem. But even if they're winning in the second, third year and he's still not getting, then it's going to probably be starting to be a problem. But in the first year, he's on a new team. He's a new player. I don't think he's going to try that yet. I don't even know if he will. I don't know what kind of personality he is. I really don't know. I know he's buddies with Hurt, so that I think that's a plus.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if they dump out of the backfield more or how they use both receivers. I
Hmm.
think it's a lot of fun stuff to show off, and yeah, and I like what the people are chiming in here about what it boils down to, and you know what type of speculation. And here you go. I mean, they're talking about the team. You know, it's more than 4 months to opening day, September 8th is the opening day of the NFL season. The Eagles will play their first game 3 days later, and we'll have Why Eagles Why for you all next year too, week by week, along with the off season you know, reports that we've had, and this is a lot of fun. Are you picking up anything else, Pete, from the people chiming in before we sign off on this one?
Somebody is Jimmy A. He's just complaining that the Sixers are losing
Oh well,
by double digits in the I guess he said in the fourth quarter. Yeah, they're losing. They're
oh, that's a shame. After Joel Embiid came in and they won games 3 and 4, there were some people that thought, well, maybe they'll go to Miami and turn it. But hey, our buddy Bill Gelman said before the season series, he said Miami in 6, but I don't think he bet it. So
yeah, I don't
you
think he
know,
bet it. I just I think this team has so much potential. I think, but Maxi's young. I think he's going to be good. I just think he makes too many mistakes. Our the bench is non-existent. Harden, I think Harden is a facilitator. Everybody's still like mad about the move. I'm not mad about the move because you got. I mean, you had to get rid of Simmons. Um, I love Embiid. The guy is playing. The guy's playing. He had a concussion. He broke his orbital. His hands about to fall off. Thumbs falling off. You can. I mean, the guy. He's an amazing player. He's a once in a lifetime player. He's still he's the MVP. I don't care. 90% of the players in the league came out, and they never come out against MVP, against like a fellow player, Jokic. But they basically came out and said like Embiid should have won, which usually doesn't happen. I mean, the
no, no,
fans do,
no.
players usually don't. But I think the players are getting kind of sick of the voting process, and I just think I don't like Doc Rivers. I'm not a fan of him. I just think
I agree.
he looks lost. He's not. He doesn't put together good game plans. He's late on a lot of his like game time or in game switches and in game decisions. I just think he's overrated. He had a team that he couldn't lose with when he won the championship, and I think they got to get a new coach and I don't know. You got to get some
I
bench
don't. Yeah,
support. You got to have
there's
some
going to be
support
some.
for Embiid because the guy is
Yeah,
he's
and,
playing way too many minutes for a 7 foot, 300 pound player. I mean, he's
and
amazing, but
I give the Sixers credit for trying to win now
yeah.
uh, with getting the Harden move with Embiid. And if anything, people may have just because of the way he came out
They never should
on
have got rid of
those
Butler.
first
That was
5 games.
yeah. That was the biggest move they got rid of Butler. That they took Brett Brown's side and Ben Simmons because Butler had a problem with the coaching and he had a problem with Ben
Yep.
Simmons and they when you have a guy that plays that hard and he's been good everywhere he plays and you keep a guy like that and look at him. It doesn't matter how old he is. He's the guy. And once they get rid of Butler, I was pretty upset about that, especially the chemistry he had with Embiid. But well, it is
So
what it is.
if you're wondering what the connection is to the Eagles and the
Mm-hmm.
Sixers, other than them both being Philly teams, well, according to what people are telling us, it may be the offseason for both teams pretty soon. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's it. Well, hey Pete, this has been a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah.
Being
Thank you. Thank you for people for chiming in. Questions and stuff. We'll do it again.
we will do it again, and they're breaking new ground with the live idea. So you'll get a chance to see this, and we'll have another Eagles analysis on the Why Eagles Why channel, and some periodic things throughout the season. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for your comments. For Pete Amato, this is Dave Bontempo saying so long, and we'll see you next time. And please remember to hit like and subscribe, and you'll be notified about our future videos. Have a good night.
Have a good one, guys.